Today I'm going to show you how to use the recursive join, the recursive CTE to deal with chart of account records. So today this is a little bit of a continuation on a previous video I did on CTEs and recursive joins. In the previous video we went over the employee manager relationship, and in this video I wanted to move over to the accounting and show you, because I do more accounting hierarchies than I do employee manager hierarchies. I'm going to skip some things this time. I'm not going to go as much into depth, so if you get confused on a few of the steps of what we're doing, you may want to head back to the other video and watch that one first. Now what I want to do is branch off into the chart of accounts. So a lot of times when you're doing recursive joins, you're going to do that with accounts, or the chart of accounts that roll up to each other. And I have a DimAccount table here. So in the AdventureWorks Data Warehouse 2017, there's a table called DBO DimAccount. So on that, I'm going to open it up and we'll take a look at the account table. So in the account table, there is a parent account key and an account key. So the primary key is account key, and then there's parent account key. So just looking at these first two rows, the assets account, which is account key 2, rolls up to account key 1, which is the balance sheet account. And then let's verify that over here on the left. There is a primary key for DimAccount. If I just go script this key to a new window, it says that the DimAccount has a constraint of primary key and it's on account key. And then there's a bunch of other stuff there. But account key is the primary key in this case. And then let's get rid of that. And now let's go look at the foreign key. And we'll just hit modify this time. Okay, that took me to a different screen here where I get to see different foreign keys. But here's the foreign key DimAccount. And in here it says that we have the name of it as FK DimAccount. And let's go and take this, expand this a little bit. And we have the foreign key base table as DimAccount. And the foreign key is parent account key. So that tells us that what it's on. Now the primary key is DimAccount table also. And the primary key is account key. Let me get out of this screen. I don't usually go in there. And let's do a script and we'll look at it in a different way. In the script, what you see is the DimAccount, the name is a foreign key on the parent account key. So the parent account key is the foreign key and it references the DimAccount account key. So in this case, we have a primary and foreign key on the same table. So we have a parent-child relationship and we have a good key structure that makes sure that we have referential integrity in that. Okay, so now that we know a little information about the table, let's do the recursion we need to do to pull this data in. So we start with the CTE, and I'm just going to call it account as, put my 2 parentheses in, and then we're going to select back out from the account table. Now, from prior videos, we know we need 2 different pieces here. We need the anchor record, and in this case, I think I want to just pull where the parent account key is null. That's probably the top of the records. So let's do that. So we're going to select star from DimAccount, where the parent account key is null. Okay, so I ran that to check and see what's going on here. And it looks like we've got 3 records. So that's not a good anchor if there's 3 records there. What I want to do is I want to figure out which of these hierarchies I want. So it looks like there's 3 different hierarchies in this table. And one of them is balance sheet, one's net income, and one is statistical accounts. I think we're just going to pull the balance sheet account. So let's change our anchor record here to go after the account description of balance sheet. And let me make sure that works. Okay, so we have our anchor record, just the one record. Now from there, we need the union null. And now we need to do our recursion. So the first thing we do is select star from. And when you do the recursion, well, we're going to get the account table. And I'm talking the CTE account is what I'm talking about. And notice all these underlines. The with statement should start with a semicolon. And you can put that anywhere. As soon as I put that semicolon in, it knows to get rid of those squiggly lines. So just a little tip there. But now, so on this recursion, I want to use the account, the CTE table here. So I'm going to select star from account. And when I get those account records, I'm going to join that back to the DimAccount. So when I get the CTE records, I'm going to join that back to DimAccount and get the records that are there. So we're going to say account, and we're going to say inner join, and we're going to say DimAccount. And then we're going to say on. Now from the account table, so this is where the recursion comes in. From the account table, we're going to have both the account key and the parent account. Now we want to get from the DimAccount, we want to get all the records that have a parent equal to the CTE account. So the CTE is account dot account key, and we want that equal to the DimAccount dot where's the parent account key. Okay, so now we've done our recursion. This really should be all we need, although we're going to have a mismatch of columns here. And we don't want that mismatch of columns because what we're going to have here is we're basically going to have all the columns from account and all the columns from DimAccount, which is going to double our number of columns for this recursive part. And for the top part, all we have is one set of columns. So we need to do some column cleanup real quick. What do we really want here? We want to get the account key, probably, just so we've got the keys while we're checking this. Let's go ahead and get the parent. Let's not get the parent at this point, sorry. Let's get the account description. And is there anything else we want? I'm gonna scroll to the right. Nope, that's all I want for now. Just those two things. So on this bottom recursive part section, I wanna get the, maybe we should alias our DimAccount, DA, and I wanna grab these things from the DA. From the dimension table. Okay, so now we've got enough to run this and see how it executes. But now what I want to do is put on the parent description, because without it we don't really see our hierarchy. So let's go in to the top here and put on the parent description. And we don't have a parent for this anchor record. If you remember, let me put the anchor record back in. We don't have a description. Well, that's just the two columns. If we put a star in there, there's no parent. So what I want to do is just put a null in there and call it parent description. But down on the recursion, we do have the parent information. The parent information is in the CTE. So the CTE comes in with the parent, and then we join to get the child. But what I want to do here is put in the, let's give it an alias. Let's call it A dot, and we'll take the account description out of it. And so now we're going to try to run this, but it's going to fail. And that's because every time I do one of these, I put a null up here. But when I put a null up here, it thinks that the type of data is actually an integer for this parent description, and it's trying to put in this one here, which is an in varchar. So we need to cast this. Let's see if this one works. That still doesn't work. Now we got two in varchars, but they're of different lengths. So if you don't put a length on these, I think the default's 35. But this one's 35, and this account description, well, let's use the SP help, Alt F1. And so the account description, which is right here, is an in varchar with a length of 100. Now when you're reading this, the in varchar is a 2-byte character, so the length of 100 actually means the in varchar 50. So let's put that in here. Run it again. Now it works. So now when we casted this null, it was an in varchar 50, which is the same length of the account description. And if we went into the columns, it's another place to look at it. We have the account description. You can see it in varchar 50. So now that all works. So that's our recursive join, our recursive CTE that gives us all the hierarchy. And what we see here is we have balance sheet, and it has two different ones. It's assets and liabilities. The last thing I want to do here is add a few things that we added to the other CTE when we did employee manager relationships. Let me grab those and we'll put those in so we can see all the different accounts and their levels. And what I want to do here is I'm actually going to grab all of those, and we need to get some formatting here. So I'm going to grab the level. We'll start at level 1, and I don't care about the concat at this point. Get rid of that. And we have the level. We have, now it says employee level, and we're going to say account level. We know that all these need to be in varchar 50s. And we need to change these all to account. And we'll go 2, 3, 4. So I've got the anchor record all set up now. And this thing is not happy with me. I need to, let's see, let's run it and see what happens. Parent description needs a comma. Okay. So, and oh, employee name. So employee name is not what we want. We actually want this account description in there. And now that one's ready to go. So this is our anchor record. And we now have some, what we're going to have accounts off to the right, and we have a level. Now we need to do the same thing down at the bottom, but I don't want to retype all this. So what I'm going to do is grab the code that we had up to the level. And we need a comma. And I grabbed an extra comma. Let me go back here. Okay, so we don't have imp, we actually have account, and that's our CTE. So we're going to put the A there, and we're not doing the concat. We're getting rid of that. If you want to know more about that, just go back to the last video. A. So everywhere I see imp, I'm putting A. And I can use a find and replace also. We're just going to replace all these. And we don't want employee, we want account. Okay, and then, yep, here, same thing. Okay, and now what do we want in this place? So we have A, we're pulling from the account. This is where we want account description. And then, or we're going to get from, that says E, which is our actual table. So everywhere we have E, we want the DA. And we're going to want the account description. Okay, let's see if this thing works for us. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this top part so I can just run the whole thing. And now we've got a hierarchy. The problem is with this one is I think our levels go down further, and we don't have all the extra columns, so we need a few more. Let's put those in there. Level 5, 6, 7. Same thing here. And all we have to do is run through and increase these. Let's run it one more time. Have an extra comma up top. Okay, let's see if we can get this all on one screen. Now you can see our jagged hierarchy where we have data all the way down to account level 5. Oh, here's account level 6. And you can actually see this hierarchy in action. So everything starts with our core anchor record, which is balance sheet. So you can see this column's all balance sheet. Then we have the two different things. We have the assets and liabilities. And then from there, it goes down further and further and further. So we have the whole hierarchy. One last thing. What if we want to change our anchor record? Because I think we had a couple of other things. Let's pull this table back up. DimAccount, where parent account key is null. So if we want to go after another hierarchy, we could go after net income. And if we just go down and change balance sheet to net income, now we got the net income hierarchy. And then one more thing, what if we went back to parent account key is null? Will that give us all the hierarchies? It does give us all the hierarchies. So we have multiple 1s and multiple 2s. And in this case, if we were like run a report or something, we could have these hierarchies, and then in the report we could do the filter. So at the last select here, we could say where, well heck, we could just go after this account level 1 with what we want because it's fully populated, right? So we could just say where the account underscore level underscore 1 equals balance sheet. And now we just have the balance sheet hierarchy. Do the same thing with the net income or the statistics ones. And so now we've got all three hierarchies in there, and it traversed all the way down. I want to do one more thing to kind of finish this out. There may be times you want this hierarchy, but you still want to go get all the other columns back from the account table. So we have our hierarchy here. We could join this one more time if we want to, and we could call this one ACCT for account. And I want to go ahead and join this ending resulting table back to the DimAccount table again. And so let's call that one DA2. And actually we can use DA again. I just don't want you to get confused with the DA that's in the subquery. And so on ACCT, dot the primary key, or account key, I guess, equals the DA dot account key. And so now we've joined it right back, and let's see what happens when we do that. Now we have full access to all the other columns that we left out in our recursive join. And you can see that we actually have the account type back, we have the operator back, we have the value type. So you can keep building on these queries. And then it becomes about performance and optimization and stuff like that. So as always, if you find this helpful, please leave a comment below, click the like button, or subscribe to my channel. You can also visit me at SQLtrainonline.com or my LinkedIn account. And I hope you enjoyed this video.